Have you noticed that your life no longer feels like it fits? The conversations feel different. The places you once loved don't excite you anymore. The goals you chased for years suddenly feel empty. And sometimes you look around and wonder, what happened to me? The truth is, nothing is wrong with you. You may simply be outgrowing a version of yourself that no longer reflects who you are becoming. Most people think healing is about feeling better. But healing often begins by making you aware of what no longer aligns. You start noticing the relationships where you've been shrinking yourself. You become aware of the situations you've tolerated for far too long. You recognize the masks you've worn to gain approval, acceptance, or belonging. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's why this stage can feel so uncomfortable. You begin to realize that the life you built was created by a previous version of you, a version that was doing the best it could with the awareness it had at the time, a version that may have been operating from fear instead of trust, from survival instead of authenticity, from obligation instead of purpose. And now, something inside you is asking for more. Not more possessions, not more status, not more achievements, more truth, more alignment, more of the life that feels like you. But before that new life emerges, there is often a period of uncertainty, a season where you feel caught between two worlds. You no longer resonate with the old version of yourself, yet the new version hasn't fully arrived. This is the space where many people become discouraged. They assume they are lost. They assume they are failing. They assume they need to go back to who they were. But what if this uncomfortable space isn't a setback? What if it's actually a sign that something beautiful is unfolding? Think about it. Every transformation in nature requires a period of transition. The caterpillar cannot remain a caterpillar if it is meant to become a butterfly. The seed cannot remain a seed if it is meant to become a tree. And you cannot remain who you were if you are becoming who you were meant to be. Growth requires change, and change requires letting go. That doesn't mean you need to abandon your entire life overnight. It simply means being honest about what no longer fits. Sometimes it's a relationship. Sometimes it's a belief. Sometimes it's a role you've been playing for years. Whatever it is, your discomfort may not be a sign to retreat. It may be an invitation to evolve. And yes, not everyone will understand. Some people only know the old version of you, the version that kept the peace, the version that said yes when you wanted to say no, the version that stayed small to make others comfortable. When you begin changing, it can challenge the expectations people have of you. But your purpose is not to remain who you were, just because others are familiar with that version. Your purpose is to become who you truly are. So if you've been feeling disconnected from your old life lately, take a moment to ask yourself, what if this isn't the end of something? What if it's the beginning? What if the discomfort you're feeling is not evidence that you're lost, but evidence that you're growing? And if this message resonates with you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Tell me, what is one thing in your life that no longer feels aligned with who you're becoming? Your story may be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if you're navigating your own healing, awakening, or transformation journey, be sure to subscribe and join this community. Remember, you don't have to force yourself back into a life you've already outgrown. Sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is trust the person you're becoming. And when you do, life has a way of meeting you there. Thank you for taking the time to connect with my content. And always remember, you are loved.